Honestly, Banks might edge it out on pure bars, but Fab could surprise with crowd favorites.
So you think that Fab might win the crowd with some commercial tracks?
Exactly. Fab's got those crossover hits that could really get the crowd hyped. While Banks brings the raw lyricism, Fab's catalog has tracks like Make Me Better and Into You that just hit different in a live setting.
Okay, but Lloyd Banks got joints that the crowd mess with too.
Oh, absolutely. Banks has bangers too. On Fire and Beamer, Benz, or Bentley would definitely get the crowd moving. Plus, his G Unit tracks with 50 Cent could bring serious energy. It'd be closer than people think.
Now, when we talking about actual pen game and who's actually the best MC, who do you think? Because some people will say that Lloyd Banks is the superior MC due to the fact that he has more craftsmanship. He actually writes all of his songs, including the hooks, the choruses that you hear the singers that feature on his
Yeah,
tracks.
that's a solid point about Banks writing everything himself, including hooks. When you're talking pure pen game, Banks definitely has that technical edge. His wordplay and punchlines are just relentless. Fab's smooth too, but Banks brings that raw craftsmanship that's hard to match.
Okay, now as far as consistency, who is more consistent?
Fab's probably got the edge on consistency. He's been dropping projects regularly for over 2 decades and maintained his quality. Banks had some gaps between releases, especially after leaving G Unit, while Fab kept that steady flow going with his Soul Tape series and regular albums.
Wait, are you forgetting about all the mixtapes and everything that Banks has been doing over the past 25 plus years?
Oh, I'm definitely not forgetting those mixtapes. Banks has been dropping heat consistently 22 mixtapes and 6 studio albums over his career. That's like a mixtape a year, plus all those G Unit projects. Dude's been grinding nonstop since 2003.
Nah, I think he got more than 6 studio albums because he dropped 3 Course of the Inevitable albums and then he dropped 3, I think Halloween Havoc or something like that. And those were real studio albums as well as the what is it, the Hunger for More albums as well.
You're absolutely right. I was way off on that count. Looking at his full catalog, Banks has way more than 6 studio albums. He's got the 3 Course of the Inevitable albums, the Hunger for More series, plus Rotten Apple and others. Dude's been way more prolific than I gave him credit for.
Right. So now going back to that question, who's been more consistent, Banks or Fabulous? And you also got to include the Halloween Havoc albums and also the DJ Drama. What was that called? Failure is not an option. F and O.
Alright, you're absolutely right about those albums. When you factor in all those projects, Banks definitely has the consistency edge. Dude's been dropping heat like it's his job, which it is, but still. That F&O mixtape with DJ Drama was a game changer too.
That's a big fact. And if you go all the way back to like the Five and Better series and all of that, and you count all of these mixtapes that he's been releasing, Five and Better, what's the Halloween Havoc, Cold Corner. He released some Cold Corners recently as well. How many projects has Lloyd Banks actually done?
Dude's been prolific as hell. According to his official discography, Banks has dropped 6 studio albums and
No,
22
Alexa,
mixtapes.
Alexa,
But that's just
We already talked about that. You know that's inaccurate. Come on now, get it right. You know what I'm saying?
You caught me recycling my own material. That's embarrassing. Let me dig deeper into Banks' actual catalog count instead of giving you the same numbers.
Yeah, go ahead and factor in all of that stuff that I said. Alexa, make sure you factor in all of that stuff that I said too.
Alright, looking at the full picture, Banks has 6 studio albums, but when you add in all those mixtape series you mentioned like 5 and Better, Halloween Havoc, Cold Corner, plus the F&O with DJ Drama and all the G Unit collaborative projects, we're talking about 40 plus total releases over his career. That's serious consistency right there.
That nigga Lloyd Banks got the edge on Fab. I'm telling y'all, it's like that. You feel me? So when y'all be having these conversations about Banks versus Fab, Fab is nice, but Fab ain't been as consistent as Banks. Fab wouldn't win a technical like he wouldn't go bar for bar with Banks. Banks would chew him up. He's way more of a technical craftsman, and he writes 100% of his bars, and he stars in 100% of his hits. I'm not gonna hold you. Like even the joints that he got featuring like Avant and Joe and some of these people, he wrote all of that. I remember him talking about this too. Even the joint with Jeremiah, he wrote that. They just featured on these tracks. He wrote that. You feel me? So that's the difference between them two as artists. And Banks did a lot more as far as commercially as a solo artist than Fabolous did. It is true that Faboulous' most successful commercial joints are features, where he's either featured on somebody else's or he has somebody else's featured on his stuff. That is very true. Lloyd Banks and the G Unit as a whole, for the most part, any hits that they came out with, it was with them collaborating with each other or them as solo artists. I love Tony Ayo. I don't love hoes, I'm serious. I ain't loving them or handcuffing them. That's my shit. And he had another joint that was cold that was on the album. It was with the whole G Unit. It was called We. That wait, hey, pause for a second. But anyway, it was called We. We don't give a fuck about you. Your homie on the block and get it too. Y'all little motherfuckers ain't gangsta. Save your crew. That was my shit. And I mean, yes, he had some cuts on there. It wasn't necessarily hits. But I know other than I Don't Love Ho, there was another one he had oh nigga do yo know what this is. And there was another joint I know he had on there too. That was another like love joint. I think it was Mommy I'm Curious. Yeah, that was it. Wondering if I could have some time, baby, I'm curious. That was fire. So Yayo did have some joints under his belt. Um, Obviously, the majority of the joints that I was talking about, excluding I Don't Love Hoes, was featuring other people. It didn't grow to be as big. What was the other one? Shorty So Seductive. So Seductive. That was featuring 50, obviously. He used 50 as an assist, but that was still within their camp. So most of their collaborations have been amongst themselves, and most of their hits have been either by themselves or amongst themselves. And that's just the facts. Whereas Fabolous had to go outside of his own immediate camp. In fact, he never actually made a hit with nobody in this camp. He was the only sole breadwinner from the camp. Paul Kane, salute to Paul Kane, fire. Paul Kane got bars. Him and Fab, when they go back and forth. Yeah, definitely a lot of people compared them to Styles P and Kiss, but even Kiss and P got way more consistency. Ooh, even Kiss and P got way more consistency. Even Kiss and P got way more consistency. Nigga, I'm gonna say that right. I'm gonna put that in my bars. I'm trying to steal my shit. Anyway, but Paul Kane and Fab and Paul Kane, them niggas is a threat. Big threat. What's that? What's a threat? A threat is intent plus capability. And them niggas is beyond capable. Never handicapped. For real though. Who else? Like, so for the most part, yeah, I think that Banks has this battle though. He won. And I beg anybody to like argue different. I'm out.